Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're looking at something truly fascinating. Have you ever looked at a massive, industry-defining company and wondered, what exactly builds an empire worth billions of dollars? Is it, off-the-charts intelligence, relentless cutthroat ambition, or is there some kind of secret formula, a hidden way of operating that sets the ultra-wealthy apart from everyone else? It's a question that captivates so many of us, and today we're going to unpack the actual psychology behind extreme wealth.
So what actually separates the ultra-wealthy? Well, let's set the record straight right out of the gate. There is no secret blueprint. There's no guaranteed, step-by-step formula that you can just print out and follow to your first billion. But here's the exciting part. Psychologists and researchers have studied the world's most successful entrepreneurs, and they found very distinct, recognizable psychological patterns in how they think and behave.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to walk through the 5 core building blocks of highly successful entrepreneurs. 1. Vision and problem solving. 2. Navigating risk and failure. 3. Discipline and continuous learning. 4. The reality of luck. And 5. Building your own success.
All right, starting off with Section 1, Vision and Problem Solving. The foundation of extreme success doesn't actually start with a lucky break. It starts with how these individuals view time. Psychologists call this crucial trait future-oriented thinking. It's basically about actively sacrificing your short-term comfort for long-term outcomes, just so you can build something truly meaningful. Seriously, behind virtually every so-called overnight success are years, and sometimes even decades, of invisible effort and delayed gratification. They're putting in the work when no one's watching, and absolutely no one is applauding.
You see, most of the world operates by chasing the immediate instant reward, right? We all want the quick win. But visionary leaders, they deliberately choose future investment. Think about how Jeff Bezos famously ran Amazon at a loss for years, pouring literally all of their revenue back into building long-term infrastructure. Visionaries spend years developing skills, building products, and pursuing major goals without any instant validation whatsoever. Now, it doesn't guarantee wealth, but it drastically increases the likelihood of creating something that actually lasts.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that long-term thinking is put into action through a continuous problem-solving loop. Billionaires don't just wake up chasing money. They systematically identify inefficiencies. They ask, hey, is there a better way to do this? And then they go and create value. They're absolutely obsessed with unmet needs, shifting their attention entirely away from the paycheck and directing it toward creating tangible value for other people.
I absolutely love this quote from our source material. Wealth becomes a byproduct of solving problems at scale. I mean, that is such a powerful shift in perspective, isn't it? People value solutions, so it naturally follows that the larger the problem you solve, the greater your potential impact on the world, and consequently, the greater the wealth that's generated as a byproduct of that impact.
Moving right along to Section 2, Navigating Risk and Failure. Having a great vision is one thing. But how do these entrepreneurs psychologically handle the inevitable storms and collapses in business? We often think they're just these fearless thrill seekers, but honestly, that's a total myth. The key difference isn't sheer fearlessness. It's a high tolerance for ambiguity. It's the ability to evaluate probabilities, gather information, and take calculated action despite complete uncertainty and having zero guarantees. Starting a business means operating in a space where products might fail and markets might shift unpredictably. They aren't reckless at all. They just know how to function effectively when the outcome is totally unclear.
Now let's talk about failure. Failure is often highly romanticized in motivational speeches, but in reality, it is incredibly painful. The psychological difference here is entirely in the interpretation. A lot of people view setbacks as clear evidence that they should just pack it up and stop. But the ultra-successful, they view setbacks purely as information. For instance, when James Dyson created the bagless vacuum, it took him 5,126 failed prototypes. To him, those weren't reasons to stop. They were 5,126 vital pieces of data that he used to adapt and pivot.
So, the crucial point is this. Resilience is not the absence of discouragement. Literally everyone gets discouraged. Resilience is the willingness to continue learning. But keep in mind, persistence has to be balanced with flexibility. You have to have the wisdom to change direction entirely when an approach just isn't working, rather than stubbornly repeating the exact same mistakes.
Which brings us to Section 3, Discipline and Continuous Learning.
We're shifting gears now, moving from navigating external business storms to mastering your own internal habits and daily routines. The world changes incredibly rapidly. Consumer preferences shift, Technology advances daily. But those who remain endlessly curious, the ones who see themselves as lifelong students, watch their knowledge, skills, and experience compound. Just like interest in a bank account, this constant learning compounds into massive long-term achievement.
But to keep learning and building, you need the right engine. Consider the difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is just a temporary emotional state. It fluctuates depending on how much sleep you got or what kind of mood you're in. Discipline, on the other hand, is about established habits and systems. People who achieve extraordinary outcomes don't sit around waiting for inspiration. They build rock-solid systems that force productive behavior, regardless of whether they feel motivated that day or not.
Which leads us to this really profound realization. Success rarely depends on one dramatic decision. We've kind of been trained by movies to look for that one big cinematic aha moment where everything just magically changes. But real empire-building success actually emerges from thousands of tiny, ordinary, disciplined choices that are repeated consistently, day after day, year after year.
Let's pivot to Section 4, the reality of luck.
We need a grounding reality check here, one that's frequently overlooked in mainstream discussions about immense wealth. Hard work and discipline are absolutely non-negotiable, for sure, but crucial external factors play a massive role too. Being born into a stable environment, meeting the right mentor, or launching at the perfect cultural moment. Bill Gates famously acknowledges that having access to a computer terminal at his high school in 1968, which was a massive stroke of luck, was pivotal to his success. Acknowledging luck doesn't diminish the hard work, it just provides a complete, honest picture of how extreme success is actually formed.
Now, what's really interesting about this visual balance here is how it weighs our personal effort against external realities. We have elements entirely within our control: our effort, our discipline, our dedication to problem solving. Then there are things completely beyond our control: timing, our broader environment, and, well, plain old luck. Understanding this balance is incredibly freeing. It encourages humility in those who succeed, and it sets healthy, realistic expectations for all of us on this journey.
And finally, Section 5, building your own success.
We've talked a whole lot about billionaires today, but let's connect this back to you. Success is built one decision at a time. The most valuable takeaway here isn't a map to becoming a billionaire, because, let's be real, extreme wealth is astonishingly rare. But anyone can cultivate these exact habits. You can choose to think long-term, you can practice solving problems, and you can build solid discipline. Doing so is going to dramatically improve your chances of achieving a success that is deeply meaningful to you personally.
I want to end this explainer by throwing a provocative question over to you. Between discipline, resilience, and long-term thinking, which mindset matters most for your own life right now? Think about it. And more importantly,